like to call to order the Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners Workshop and regular meeting for December 21, 2022. Roll call.
President Zipfel.
Here.
Vice President Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Andrus.
Here.
Commissioner Lees.
Here.
Commissioner Zimmerman.
Here.
So we have a special recognition tonight for Mr. Zisk with us. And George, just to maybe partly to thank you and also to maybe slightly embarrass you and put you on the spot, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening?
Republic for which it stands.
We will publicly recognize you and embarrass you a little bit in a moment or two, because that's what these meetings are really all about. It's for our own enjoyment. All right, is there a motion for approval of this evening's agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees, second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of approving the agenda that's before you, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we can move ahead with the agenda before you and up on the screen. Citizens' comments. Are there any citizens' comments on agenda items? All right, we're going to move on to our consent items. Is there a motion to move into the record the consent items that are listed in your agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. The consent items include the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes of November 16, the HTMA meeting minutes of October 11, the police report for the month of November, the VMSC monthly report for the month of November, and the treasurer's report. Bills payable, paid bills in the amount of $5,762.38, and unpaid bills in the amount of $1,005,560.27. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of moving those into the record, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, those are moved into the record. Okay. We have a special recognition, and I'm going to ask if George Zisk would, a recognition of the Planning Commissioner member, George Zisk, would meet us over at the podium. So it is not often that we can recognize someone. Oh, well, we're gonna do that for the photographs. We have you hold that. It's not often that we have an opportunity to thank a volunteer resident who has worked so tirelessly for 30 years. Is that right, 30 years? It's 30 years on the Planning Commission. And so we wanted to take the opportunity to say thank you publicly. But really, your work has gone so unsung for so many years. But if tonight is just one small moment where we get to say, not just on behalf of the commissioners, but all the residents, thank you, then it's absolutely worth it for us to do. And it's important for people to understand the commitment that goes along with that. And I'm looking at people in the room who are also volunteers, are also committed to our township. So for those who are watching, and I don't know if you know this, but this is on television, and people sometimes watch this a couple of times a day. Okay. And so your recognition goes beyond the small crowd that's here. We do have a proclamation that I'll read, and then I'll say a few words, and then, of course, if you have anything you'd like to add, we're happy to have you do that. So our proclamation reads as follows. The Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners desire to recognize longtime member of the Hatfield Planning Commission, George Zisk. And whereas George Zisk was appointed to the Hatfield Township Planning Commission in 1992, whereas George Zisk has served Hatfield Township as a volunteer for 30 years, and whereas George Zisk was voted to serve as chairman of the Planning Commission in 2010, so you've been our chairman now for 12 years, going on 13 years. That's probably the longest serving chairperson in the Planning Commission, as far as I know, and I've been here for many years, and I'm looking at my other commissioners, and my guess is that's probably the longest serving Township Planning Commission chair. Ken would definitely know.
Longest I know.
Oh, well, then that's the answer. If Ken knows it, then
He's the longest I know, too.
That's right, that's right. That's quite a thing. And you know what that means to us? It doesn't just mean that he's there's one or two other people who are going to make and say, okay, you can be chairperson. It means that you've built consensus for that long. And it means that you have the skill and ability and expertise that those other planning commission members have said, this is who we put our trust in to be chairperson. And so it's a lot more than just saying, okay, who's going to raise their hand and say, I'll take that position. So it's not just about being on the commission for 30 years, but leading it it's for those who understand, that is a significant accomplishment. And whereas George Zisk has maintained the position of chairperson since, and whereas George Zisk has been an advocate for small growth and improved stormwater management oversight throughout his tenure. I don't go to many commission meetings, planning commission meetings, but I have to tell you, I've been told for many years that you are not just our expert, but our resident expert on stormwater, but you truly care about the interests of the residents, and you have often voiced any concerns related to stormwater throughout the township and had such a great impact on so many different projects. They're really countless.
That goes without saying. I'm sure Ken and Brian, they get tired of me asking questions at every meeting with every applicant. But
Well, the term I hear when there's discussion about planning commission, it's about you being an advocate in particular in that subject matter area, which is stormwater. And so I know where you live based on that. There's probably an interest as well. And we are a township that has stormwater issues for a lot of different reasons. So that's again, an unrecognized expertise that we've really needed for many years. And so, whereas George Zisk has decided not to seek reappointment to the Planning Commission after this year, which is our loss, of course, now therefore be it proclaimed in accordance with the foregoing that the Board of Commissioners of Hatfield Township does hereby endorse this proclamation as recognition to George Zisk and thanks him for his service to his community, proclaimed and presented this 21st day of December 2022. Hatfield Township Board of Commissioners, thank you very much for everything that you've done for us.
thank you very much for the recognition. Pleasure working with the township. Yeah, thank you for the recognition. It's been a pleasure working with the township. Hopefully, some of the things that we've done and done with the Planning Commission have been useful and helpful. I think the success of the Planning Commission owes a great deal to Ken Amy, who and he's retiring, but he's been a real help with kind of giving us information about the applicants, some of the things that have happened in the application process. He's enlightened us on that, and also keeping continuity between all the boards of commissioners that I've experienced, and that's been very, very helpful. And I appreciate that. I appreciate Brian, who's been at our meetings for quite a few years. Those guys have been very beneficial to the success of the Planning Commission. So again, thank you very much. I'm sure the Planning Commission right now, the members on the Planning Commission are very knowledgeable. They've been around a long time in Hatfield. So I think my neighbor next door, Dottie Miller, I understand she just recently retired, so I'm sure she might be a little bit more involved with questions and opinions. But no, the Planning Commission members that I'm leaving, have done a really good job and are very knowledgeable of the township, and I'm sure you'll find a good replacement. But thank you very much for the recognition.
Before we do a couple of quick pictures, I just wanted to share a little bit about this commitment to our township, from a math perspective. So 30 years, roughly, let's say at least 10 to 12 times a year, if not more, right? And I'm going to look over at my engineering commissioner, who is blocked by that plant. But we had an estimate that you have held at least, I should say, 350 planning commission meetings that you have overseen and that you have been a part of. And these are not meetings that last for 5 or 10 minutes. And so for anyone to have that type of commitment, it's well-deserved recognition. And to your family as well, for allowing us to take your time and to steel you for those moments and your expertise for those times when it was so needed. Please pass on our best to them as well.
Okay, well,
And-
they live
and
in,
thank you.
the township, so, represent my family as well as other citizens.
Better reason, no better reason.
Sure.
So again, congratulations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
You're close second. Say you're second.
I'm a close second. A distant.
no better way to end the calendar year here in our meetings than to thank someone who's given so much to our community. So George, thank you very much. All right, we're going to move on to our next special item, our second special item, which is a presentation by Michael O'Rourke from GKO Architects. Oh, sure. You know what? I'm just going to take something out of order. Mike, if you can hold on 1 second. The second item that we're going to have, our second special item, is actually a resolution in support of the 250th anniversary of the USA Committee. And so if there is, a couple of us are on this committee, so is there a motion for approval with regard to Resolution 22-18, which is the America 250 PA Committee recognition?
So moved.
Everyone did, but Commissioner Zimmerman and I have been in a couple of the meetings, actually, and Vice President Rogers as well. So that's a first, and I'll take Vice President Rogers as a second. And so, Deb, I'm not sure if you want to mention anything as a part of the resolution, or Bob, other than preparations are are coming for this event.
Yeah, this will be in 2026, so we still have some time, but we want to, get it started now, and we've already been doing it for several months, working with the Hatfield Museum and Historical Society, and we just want to highlight Hatfield and how it was back in the time of the Declaration, 1776, and interesting.
And if anyone has any information about relatives or properties of historical significance at or about that time, it'd be greatly appreciated. Reach out for us, and we'll share it with the committee. And we're a growing committee, and I think we're going to get a little bigger. And so it is pretty exciting. I know it seems like it's forever from now, but it'll be here before you know it. So, all right. With that, I'll call the question. All in favor of Resolution 22-18, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Come back now? Okay. Or special item number 2. Mike, if you would give us an update on the latest with regard to this plan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mike O'Rourke. I'm principal with GKO Architects. Here tonight to give a brief presentation about our firm. We understand that the township has been to the Warrington Police Facility, Township Police Facility, to take a look at that building, and you would like to base your police design on, starting from that design. There will be tweaks, we understand, to the interior of the building. I did talk to the borough the township manager in Warrington to get their consent that this was okay with them, and it is. We also worked very closely with your construction manager, Boyle Construction, on that project. So it's you'll see when I go through, a very similar team that put that project together. Ready for the next slide. So our firm specializes in publicly bid projects. That includes municipal projects. It includes school district projects, public libraries, and the like. We have a staff of 15, including architects, interior designers, and construction administrators. The team that we're proposing for your new police facility is the same team that worked on the Warrington police facility. Obviously, that's purposeful because we know that design very well, and this team will be able to make the modifications that will be required to make this police facility your own. So on that team includes Consolidated Engineers, Baker Ingram for structural engineering. One of the critical members of that team is Redstone, Dan Redstone. He is a nationally known law enforcement design consultant. So he will be part of that team as well. So as we make the modifications that the township needs for your facility, he's going to be involved in that. Next slide. Those, some of the projects, about 84% of the projects we work on are publicly bid, some of which include work we're doing right now for Lower Merion Township, Upper Dublin, and another project for Warrington. One of the philosophies that our firm really truly believes in is working with our clients in a collaborative manner. And that also extends to not only the design team, but the construction team. So I think it's great that you've brought Boyle Construction onto this project early on. It's always better to be working together from the start. And we will be assisting Boyle in putting together cost estimates and value engineering. So that process will go very smoothly. I'm especially happy to be working on this project because I'm, until 2 years ago, a long-term resident of Hatfield Township. Worked for many years at the local architectural firm on the corner for joining the firm that I'm at now. And a couple of the projects that I personally worked on in the areas, the Grace Lutheran Church after the fire that they had there, and St. Mary Goretti Church is another local project. So we mentioned about the Warrington police facility. One thing that was very, very important in that project and why Dan Redstone was brought onto the team was that the township was interested, and I'm sure Hatfield Township is as well, in a state-of-the-art police facility. That doesn't necessarily mean it has to be the biggest police building in the world, but it really needs to be well thought out. The second thing that was important in that particular project, and we can certainly bring to yours as well, is trying to make the facility fit into the local community. So things like the materials that are used on the building, how the public areas are separated from police operations, all those things are very, very important. That extends to the interior as well, and it's another way that we can make your facility unique, even though it's maybe based on a layout from Warrington. We will endeavor to make this facility tailored to Hatfield Township. So the selection of colors and materials and furnishings and tweaks to the interior layout will go a long way towards that goal. Any good police facility starts with a good site design. It's especially important because of the nature of the emergency flow of police vehicles and things like that on the site. You don't want to get that, have a mix-up between public vehicles coming in and police vehicles exiting the site. It needs to be a secure facility. Both the interior and the exterior of the facility need to work together, and I'll show you when we get to the floor plan some strategies that we have for that. On Warrington, you know, the entire police compound is fenced, so the first thing, so that the Sally Port areas and police vehicles are secure behind fencing. On this particular project, which we would hope to do on yours as well, to have a police dedicated access drive, that's police-only vehicles. That's a very important feature to develop. That the public areas are completely separated from the all those types of concepts will be built into the site design. We are familiar with McMahon Associates, who we understand will be the civil engineer on this, and we will work closely with them. Some of the things that are really important from the beginning is to think about the best way to make connections to the streets, to Cowpath and Orville Road, and how that flow is going to take place. This is the floor plan layout for the Warrington station, and you can see that it's a relatively simple design, but the public areas are all up front. That includes access to community services, access to report writing. If a resident has a report that they'd like to bring into the police, they don't have to go any further than this front area. Right. For interviewing, there's an interview suite right off of that lobby area, so that the police operations area is completely closed off. You can see the doors here. Things like gun lockers and things like that, or as you move from, police officers move from one part of the police operations to another, they can secure their weapons before moving in. All of that's built into the plan. Administrative offices, detectives, et cetera. Another really important feature is the connection between the Sally Port and the holding areas. So all of that is built into the plan. I mentioned at the beginning the importance of thinking about both the outside and the inside simultaneously. That is kind of an aerial view that shows how the outside operations, for example, where the police cars are in a covered canopy area. Staff have direct access to those cars. So if it's snowing outside, the police cars are ready to go because they are under cover, right out of the staff entry, right areas. In addition, on Warrington, which we could do here as well if you're interested, that canopy can be made with solar panels to generate some of the electricity needs for the exterior materials and aesthetics, as I mentioned earlier, are one other way that we can really kind of tailor this facility to the immediate Hatfield community. So looking at that as well. This is a view of the site and the parcels that Hatfield Township owns. So anything that's highlighted in a sort of beige color are properties that you have acquired. And the reddish area in the middle is the area we'd be looking at first for the development zone for the police facility. Again, this will be very carefully planned with McMahon Associates. And of course, locating the connection points will be key to that. So the next planning steps going forward. First thing is a program confirmation, where we'll sit down with Chief and his staff, go through the spaces room by room, talk about the particular needs in each of those spaces. That will be done with our firm and Redstone simultaneously. Then the site plan design, as I mentioned, with McMahon Associates. Then we get into the schematic design development, determine the budgets and working with Boyle Construction, and then get into construction documents. Once the project is publicly bid, and right now we're thinking it will go out to general construction, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing primes, as well as a fire protection prime and finally, we would work with Boyle Construction and the Township on the construction administration project and stay on through follow-through after the punch list for the building is complete. Happy to answer any questions.
Acreage compared to what we have, compared to what Warrington has, do we have as much space, as much land?
I believe it's very similar. I have not gotten all of the final drawings yet, from the survey drawings, to be able to take that off. But when I look at it from the size of what I remember of these parcels, fine, it's pretty similar. Of course, Warrington does have the township building on their property as well.
Commissioner, we do have more available, but we're going to be very sensitive to the fact that there's a nature area in the back and that's preserved, and we're going to do everything we can to not interfere with that area. We know it's a popular space, but we do have more acreage available than the good comparable site, though. Commissioners, one other thing that hasn't been pointed out that I think the taxpayers would like to hear, and I know the commissioners are already aware, but by bringing on the same team that designed the Warrington station, Hatfield will see a savings of about $160,000 because some of the design will be able to be transferred over. Obviously, some will change as they meet our team, but there'll be a significant savings by bringing over this same team. And Commissioner Hatfield and Commissioner Rogers met with Boyle when we interviewed them, and we talked to them about all of those potential savings, and Mike and his team did a great job on that project, and we're hoping for the same here.
We like savings around here, Mike. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was a resident, it always sounded good to me, too.
It's always a good start, for sure.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments? Residents, any questions or comments? No?
Rick, could you go to the microphone, please, just so we have a record of your comments? And state your name and address, please.
I'm Rick Newbury. I live on Sharon Road in the Township, and at any rate, I was just puzzling here because you were mentioning that Boyle Construction were involved with the layout and everything, but I had a note down here to myself saying, shouldn't these jobs be bid on? And but I'm guessing, this is my question, I'm guessing that Boyle Construction are not actually a construction. They're more
Construction
management. I gotcha. Okay. That's all I wanted to ask. Thank you very much.
Good question, thank you. And you answered your own question, by the way. We always like when residents can do that. That's always encouraged as well. So thank you. Okay. Mike, anything else?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we really appreciate your coming in and giving us an update and a next steps, which is great to hear. So thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Mr. President, if you wanted to do Mike a favor, we could jump down to the action item regarding the agreement with GKO, so Mike can move on with his evening.
Why don't we do that?
while the presentation was fresh. in
Well,
your
I'm sure you
memories.
want to spend your holidays with us in our festive last meeting, but maybe not so much to the end of our meeting. So I'll move to action item, the third action item, which is a motion for approval for GKO Architects and Phillips and Donovan Architects for professional services agreement for the police station design. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Vice President Rogers. All right, any questions or comments?
Mr. President, just one note, just so everyone is aware, there are two firms listed on your agenda for approval. Mike will obviously be the lead. There will be a supplemental architect that will advise as needed. He's a specialist in indoor ranges, and something that is of interest to the police department. We're going to find out if it's feasible. If it is, the other architect will help Mike and his team with that design, but if not, then obviously GKO will be doing a very small piece of the overall project, and the professional services contract is in the packet. But I just wanted to make sure we're hiring two architects, but the main one is.
All right. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Michael, thank you, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you quite a bit next year. All right, have a great holiday season. Okay, we're going to move on to committee reports. I know we don't have official committee reports, but I'll go through the list in case anyone has any questions or comments. Planning and Zoning Committee, Vice President Rogers.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Public Works Committee, Commissioner Lees.
Yes, Mr. President, thank you. I'd like to take this moment to thank all the Public Works employees and the staff for all the great work that they've done around the township all year. I want to wish them a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Happy New Year.
All right. Parks and Recreation Committee, Commissioner Zimmerman.
No, I always have something to say. Because, again, a big thanks to Ashley and her team because she keeps all these activities going for the township and the township residents. So thank you so much to them. So our Santa event that we had, I guess a week and a half or so ago, which was worked with the Hatfield Township Police Benevolent Association and the Park and Recs Department teamed up with the North Pole to bring Santa and some holiday magic to Hatfield. We also had a band there. Brian and the Misfit Elves performed some holiday classics. The Boy Scouts helped us out too, Troop 51, thank you very much to them, handing out s'more kits and assisted with the fire pits and marshmallow roasting. Our face painter and our balloonist returned, and the longest lines that night were for those two activities, even longer than the Santa Claus line, if you can believe that. And Santa was there, though, and met with some of the children and took photos with families throughout the event. So big thanks to the Hatfield Police Benevolent Association, the Park and Recs Department, the board members, the fire company also, because they brought Santa in and they did the travels around the township last Saturday, and all the amazing volunteers that helped bring a little bit of the North Pole to the Hatfield community. Our giving tree was another big hit, and many, many thanks to the overwhelming generosity of the Hatfield and the surrounding communities. We were able to assist the North Penn School District in providing gifts and gift cards for holiday meals for 6 families, and the gifts were delivered to the schools on Monday, so there'll be plenty of time to coordinate with Santa to get them to the families in time for Christmas. And so again, thank you to everyone who contributed this year. Our holiday lights contest will be decided, I think, on Friday. Myself and some other members of the board have been going around, as well as if you check out on Facebook, you can see the 13 entries, and you can vote as well for the most colorful, the most traditional or classic, and the most creative. So they're all on our Hatfield Facebook page, so take a look at that and cast your vote. And winners will be announced at the end of next week. Some classes for 2023. We can all exercise and get rid of our holiday overeating indulgence. Zumba will start on Sundays, beginning on January the 8th from 9 to 10 a.m. here in the Township Building, $60 a person. Pound on Tuesdays, beginning the 10th, 6:30 to 7:30 in the Township Building, also $60 a person. Remix on Monday evenings, starting on the 9th, $60 a person. Yoga on Thursdays, beginning on the 19th, 7 to 7:45 in the Township Building, $30 a person. And of course, our popular pickleball will be back for the winter and spring session, but indoors at the XL Sports. Mondays and Wednesdays from 12:30 to 3, beginning on the 9th. Residents $35 and non-residents $50. So again, many, many thanks to Ashley and her team, Mike and Steve, and all the volunteers and the board. And we're keeping things going for the community, and we're glad that so many of the residents have come out and participated in all these various activities that have been offered to them. It means a lot to us, means a lot to Ashley to see that her events were a hit, and she'll just keep them coming. So thank you.
Right, that's great. Okay, public safety, no official report other than to say thank you to our entire police staff. Chief, if you would pass that on to the entire staff, and of course to both fire companies, Hatfield and Calmer, for the great work that they do, and of course the VMSC for the things that they do that are also another group of unsung heroes, and all first responders that help us out here in Hatfield Township. We want to say thank you and have a great holiday season, and we appreciate everything that they do. Next is Finance Committee, Commissioner Andrus.
Thank you. There's too many names to mention here, but I really appreciate the collaboration amongst the department heads in pulling together a budget year after year. And I think it's the 9th year now, Aaron, where there's been no tax increase. And that doesn't happen by accident. I think it happens by thoughtful conversations and prioritizing projects as they should be. Most importantly, I know the staff does a heck of a job writing and getting grants that helped us considerably in infrastructure improvements, other activities in the township that the township taxpayers don't pay out of pocket. It comes. So appreciative of the fact you guys put that effort forward and have been successful. We have parks because of that. We have new bridges because of those activities. And again, I really appreciate the effort that the staff puts together for all the residents of Hatfield. And I really appreciate it.
All right, we have just a couple of action items related to what Jerry just was talking about. It's our budget, and so we have the first two ordinances are related to that. So action item number 1, ordinance number 701. Is there a motion for approval of the 2023 Hatfield Township budget adoption?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Andrus.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lees. Bro, would you like to comment on this? Because you and the entire staff have done a fantastic job for all these years, and I know that this is probably only a 300-slide presentation, but
At the least.
at the least, is more than that? Okay.
Should I redo last month's performance?
Sure, why not?
I will summarize in 20 seconds what it took me 6 hours to do. Like Commissioner Andrews said, this is our 9th straight year without a tax increase, and that's not because we haven't done anything over those 9 years. It's because the commission led us down a path of fiscal stability, and we've done a lot. And next year, some of the highlights of the budget are what we heard earlier, and we're going to go through a process to design the future police station. Best police department in the state. We're going to pave Frick's Trail. Clemens Park will be expanded and developed. We're going to pave almost $1 million worth of roads. We're going to retrofit some of our stormwater basins. We're going to get rid of all of our property files. I know that makes some people nervous in our building, but we're going to go completely digital with all of our property files. Our reserve fund, which we committed to almost 10 years ago, chipping away at that. It's now at $1 million, which puts us in even better financial position. We're going to finalize the design for Welshon or Villa, and I was stuck in that tonight for a good 20 minutes, and I know people are in that intersection every day like that, so we're going to fix that. And Clemens Park, Garden of Health, our partner, our nonprofit partner, is going to finally start growing some vegetables, and we're all going to volunteer and help and distribute that to some of the low-income families, and there's a lot more of those these days, not necessarily low income, but people that are struggling to pay for produce with the rising cost of pretty much everything. So a full slate for 23, and thank you to the commission guiding us down this path and getting us ready for next year.
Well, I think that's a great highlight. Of course, we want to thank our entire staff, as Jerry just did, but in particular our township manager. He does a fantastic job, and we're just so thrilled that we've got him through 2023 and beyond, and very pleased to be able to continue to say that. So Any questions or comments about ordinance number 701 before we vote on it? Right, hearing none, then I'll call the question. All in favor of ordinance 701, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Right on the tail of that, which is a kind of a right way to say this, it's a secondary, it's not a secondary ordinance, but it's a follow-up ordinance. I forget what it's actually called. It's got a formal title. Is ordinance number 702. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the establishment of the 2023 taxes, which is a no increase ordinance?
So moved.
Motion by Vice President Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Zimmerman. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of ordinance 702, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. I just thought of the word. It's companion ordinance. It's actually a term, I believe. So we handled action item number 3. The last one is resolution 22-19. Is there a motion for approval with regard to the traffic engineer procedure for consultant selection?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Andrus. Aaron, if you'd like to walk us through this one briefly.
Sure. Commissioners, this is just step 2 in a housekeeping item in a housekeeping process that we're required to go through because of some of the recent grants we've received. PennDOT has asked us to publicly bid out the services for a traffic engineer. So we're going through that process. We do have some applicants. We're outlining the procedure here in this resolution. And then President Zipfel and Vice President Rogers will meet with Assistant Manager Scott Hudd and myself, and we will review all of the proposals, and then the board will be in a position to meet all of the criteria and then make an appointment at some point, either in January or February. But process that we are required to go through, we have nothing confidence, and we're very happy with the performance of our have submitted to
As we hope they would.
yes.
That's good news. All right, any questions or comments with regard to that resolution? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor of resolution 22-19, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, that is approved. Township staff report. Mr. Manager.
Sure, just one item. Before I get to this, Commissioner Andrews just reminded me of something that I feel like is important to note to all of the commissioners and the public. But with the police project beginning in design phase next year, obviously it's a significant investment for a new. I can promise you that if there's a dime to be found as far as grants go, we are going to be pursuing. Have good chances of bringing in a lot of money from outside the taxpayers in Hatfield to offset the costs of this building. So we'll be working on that throughout design and beyond, but there are plenty of opportunities that we've already identified. We've already begun the process of building right relationships, and I think taxpayers will be pleased to see the cost will be less than what it would have been. So reminded by Commissioner Andrus and his noting of public service announcement for the community. This is going to cause a little bit of aggravation and headaches on your morning and afternoon commute. As of January 4th, Township Line Road will be closed down, and it will be closed down for up to 2 years. As PennDOT begins that portion of the project to build what is going to be the Nectar Road, PennDOT's been working on the other side of Cowpath now for about a year, I believe. The commissioner cutting for that event last winter,
about a year ago.
spring.
That's
Yeah,
right.
about a year ago. So this portion of Township Line Road from Cowpath to Penn will be closed for up to 2 years. That's a safe estimate. I believe it will be before that, but you never know. So that's what PennDOT is telling us. Again, this is a state project, a PennDOT project. We have no control over this at all. We share the information, and we try to educate the people that call us very angry. Detours noted in yellow, and there's many other different ways for the people in the community to get around. But in the end, what it will be is a new connection that will allow trucks to use this corridor instead of driving through all of our neighborhoods, instead of driving on Durstein and through Hatfield Borough. This will be a significant public improvement, a significant upgrade for how trucks move through our community. It's been long awaited. long planned, 60, 70 years, and finally this portion will be built. And then the plan PennDOT says is that as this is considered phase 2, as it comes to completion, they would like to roll right into phase 3, which gets it to 309. But phase 2 ends where that red line ends, right there at Penn. So that right now, Wambold ends at Allentown. That road will continue all the way here to Penn, as well as a nice 12-foot wide trail on the outside for the runners and bikers and walkers in our community. So we'll see. But this is absolutely happening after the holidays, and we just want everyone to be aware of it because some change in traffic patterns for sure.
There must be some allocation for local traffic, because a couple of
About
those
maps.
locations are, right?
Good question, good question. Yep, all local. BAPS will absolutely have access to its property at all times throughout construction, as well as any
Right.
not be shut off from their property. That is a great question, and that is the case. And we have heard from BAPS officials when this went out, they were concerned. We assured them. We also put them in touch with PennDOT and Alan Myers, the contractor, so they can all work together. All that out.
And emergency services, I'm sure, knows the alternative route by heart already. Yep. Straight through.
Dean's allowed to go through it all the time. Yep, it's a good point. We'll make sure that is adjusted. Commissioner's on top of that, Dean. She's been telling me for a while now. We're hoping to make the changes. Turn red when you come close. Everybody else is going to agree. You can preempt. So.
It's going to be on the other side, turn it back for you.
All right, anything else?
That's all, Mr. President. Thank you.
Good year. Very good year. Thank you for everything. All right, citizens' comments. Any citizens' comments for the evening?
Hatfield Fire Company. Just an update, upcoming year. We plan on putting a fence out at the substation. The training facility is in progress. We have access now to the second floor of the containers. So we are working hard on that as much as we can, when we can. We have VMSC out there 24/7 at our substation. So there's always cars out there now. There's always the Corps members are out there. So we came upon an agreement with the contract with VMSC. Let's see. There's no change in executive board members of the firehouse. So you want to know that. We are going to look, we found a new grant writer. We are going to go after some water rescue stuff and a new command vehicle. So another command vehicle through a grants. So we're going to try to get much grants as we can. So.
Great. Did you say the first thing you said was fencing?
Yeah, we're going to put fence up around the substation, around the training facility.
Around kind of
containers.
the back side of it?
Yeah.
And then
Well, in front of the
along
berm where the trees were planted, and then along the property the other side.
Yeah, along the property, right. Okay.
And we are going to request a variant, or, yeah, because we want an 8-foot fence. I know we can only do 6, but we'd like to put an 8-foot up, just so the visibility of the people, zero time, you know? So we don't have to hear any complaints about our cars sitting there and when we do rescue training.
Got it. Okay. All right, thank you for the update.
And wish you guys a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year from the company.
Thank you.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. All right, any other citizens' comments?
I'd just like to make a quick comment. I appreciate everything that the staff does. It's easy to be a commissioner in Hatfield Township. Our police and fire departments, I mean, fantastic. Park and Recs, I mean, it's just nonstop, the activities that take place. Public Works, all that they do, the people, everybody that hits Hatfield Township roads comments on how nice and how well maintained they are. And all the volunteers that we have. Without all the volunteers we have and our committed public meeting, I'm not sure, guests, attendees. So anyway, and also I want to thank the commissioners. I think we always have kind of start off on different ways, but somehow we kind of bring it all together. appreciate that, so. You guys all have a Merry Christmas and
Thank you. All right, just a couple of quick items to announce. One is that we'll be going to an executive session to discuss personnel. And other than that, we, as a board and on behalf of the entire township, we want to wish everyone a safe, peaceful, and happy holiday season. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Lees. Second by Commissioner Andrus. All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thanks for coming out, folks.